Just like I said the other day, it's another great opportunity on Monday night to put on display the work that our players have put in from a day-to-day basis. We're facing an excellent 49ers football team that's 3-0, top 5 in defense, top 5 in offense. They do an excellent job running the ball. Kyle's always done a great job in the run game and created unique ways to throw the ball down the field. Defensively, they're playing with great passion and energy. They get to the ball, they play hard. I don't know what else you want in a football team. They're very good.
Well, the countdown is on, and unfortunately for us at least, the countdown a little longer this week. Again, the Browns back in prime time, traveling to the Bay Area to take on the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football. Welcome into the Browns Countdown. I'm Jon Doss, alongside Browns legend Hanford Dixon, 3-time Super Bowl champion, one half of the Next Level radio show in ESPN Cleveland. He is Gerard Cherry. Gentlemen, Baltimore game. Should we get this out of the way?
I think let's get it out of the way.
I'm giving you the opportunity here to clear the air early on in the show. And for the Ravens got the beat down last week.
You know what they really did, and it was really surprising because they got the beat down at home. Yeah. And I just think they just totally just didn't think the Browns were capable of coming into Baltimore and doing what they did to them. The Browns played an excellent football game in all phases of the game.
Certainly, that's the key part. You had all three phases of the football team showing up and doing what was necessary. And when you get complimentary football like that, when you consider the talent quotient of this football team, I'm not surprised by it, because when you watch Baltimore on film, though Lamar Jackson's done some major and exciting things, they're not a complete football team when you look at the defensive mistakes that they make, and it showed up on Sunday, and we totally exploited it, and I was happy for it.
You know what I think, when you look at that particular game and then the way the Browns perform, I hope tomorrow what we do is we have more drives like we did the first drive, because that first drive, we actually took 8.5 minutes off the clock, and when you look at Baker, he had 7 receptions, and 6 of those were to different receivers, and that was just outstanding.
And you know what? We give Hanford some grief, but he did pick the Browns last night.
I did
pick the Browns to beat the Ravens.
I felt it coming.
And let's go back and relive that win in Baltimore.
The math tells you early in the season it is a big game. If the Browns can win here today, they can really turn it around on all the doubters. But the other thing is they can get right into first place in the division. And on the other side, if you lose, Baltimore suddenly has a 2-game lead in the division. Shotgun snap, he's got it. Baker back, plenty of time. He drifts left, and he's got Ricky Seals-Jones wide open at the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown! In the shotgun, Jackson on 3rd and 7 from the Browns 46. Takes the snap, drops to throw, pressure coming. He gets away from Demarius Randall, but not the second time, as he's got him for a sack. On first down, takes the ball, gives the ball a cutback by Chubb. He's to the 10. He's still running to the 5. He dips outside left. He's going in. Touchdown! What a run! Nick Chubb! And here's Jackson giving, and Ingram running. That ball's loose on the ground, and the Browns get in there. Chad Thomas got in there. Looks like he got it. Joe Schobert got in there along with Jermaine Whitehead and caused it. The Ravens' first turnover of the year. Here's Mayfield shuttling the ball off left side, and it's Landry. He's got it at the 15, 10. He's to the 5. He dives for the pylon. And they say he stepped out at the 2. The snap gives. Chubb runs to the left, bangs it to the outside. He dives for the goal line. Touchdown, Nick Chubb, his second of the day. Chubb behind him. Mayfield under center on first down. Toss sweep near side. Here comes Chubb with a cutback. He's out to the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Here he goes to the 50. Here goes Chubb. He's going to go. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Nick Chubb. He's got a hat trick. Shotgun, back to pass. Jackson up in the pocket. A lot of time. He's going to go long and deep for Andrews down the field. And Whitehead got it.
He went over the top of Andrews.
Jermaine Whitehead went up and got it. That's Lamar Jackson's first interception of the year. Shotgun snap, back to pass, pressure coming, and Lamar Jackson got hit, and it was tipped, and Devereaux Lawrence picked it off. First and goal at the 1. They give the ball to Hilliard, and he goes in, touchdown. Dontrell Hilliard off the left side and in, and the Browns are running it up now. The Browns are winners in Baltimore. No easy task. The final score from M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. The Browns win. It's the Browns 40 and the Ravens 25.
How fun was that? Still to this, and we have seen Nick Chubb do that, break away from guy. And even still, I'm surprised at how fast that guy is every time he's streaking downfield like that.
I mean, he's extremely fast. But you know when I thought, when I looked at this football game, I thought the turning point in this football game was in the third quarter. You remember the third quarter when the Ravens took the football and they went down and they scored and they made it a 10-10 ball game. Then the Browns got the football and they went down and they scored and they made it 17-10. Then the Ravens got the ball back and they were driving. I mean, they were driving to do something. And then Whitehead came in and he caused the fumble. And guys, and we all know the Ravens, that was the first time they had a turnover all year.
Not just the win in Baltimore. The Browns awarded with some pretty cool hardware. Nick Chubb, AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Jamie Gillen, the rookie punter, the AFC's Special Teams Player of the Month.
The month. Okay, wow, that's a heck of a accomplishment for the rookie. But Nick Chubb, when you see these runs right here, and whenever you see a situation like on the screen right there where a running back is running away from DBs, as a matter of fact, Earl Thomas quit on that play right there. That tells you how fast he is.
Thomas.
Yes, that guy who's tired of Brown's hype.
When Nick Chubb was running away from everybody on that particular play, when I played, I was pretty fast. I don't even think I could have caught Nick Chubb on that play.
Well, he's on record as having the fastest speed for the monitor for the NFL. I believe he clocked out at like 21.9
And Baker was running at 18 miles an hour celebrating behind him. How about that?
Well, you know what? I was watching and then I was listening to the game and I think one of the commentators said that Harbaugh went over to the bench and he was really giving his defense and especially his defensive backs a really hard time about the tackling. But they have to realize, and everybody have to realize, and I think they do now, you cannot just go up and just bump Nick Chubb and think you're going to get him down.
And that's the thing. He is an amazing combination of speed and strength and just the right size to where it's hard to bring him down. So, yes, it's a challenge. One guy does not bring him down.
No.
And an arm tackle is certainly not going to do it.
No.
Browns wide receiving core. This is a Browns offense that had over 500 total yards in Baltimore last week, and they did it with Odell Beckham Jr. having 2 catches for 20 yards. And now the Browns back at full strength. We know Jarvis Landry was in the concussion protocol. No words from Hanford on that. He is back. He is going to play on Monday night in San Francisco. And, guys, Antonio Callaway is back with this football team after serving his 4-game suspension.
Yeah, well, I'm excited about that, but I'm not going to put too much on Antonio's shoulders or his hands in this case.
He hasn't done anything.
He hasn't done anything, but at the same time, though, he can serve as a weapon in that he has deep threat capabilities. So if you run him and Odell on the same side and he's able to be the decoy for him, maybe he can get more involved in the offense. So I'm excited to see Antonio back because I do believe he's a talent. It's just a matter of an issue of focus. And if he can do that, he can totally take advantage of the fact that teams are going to obviously be focused on Jarvis as well as Odell Beckham Jr. So I'm looking for him actually to have a game and have some good game and have impact today.
I think we're all happy with having him back. And I think if you listen to some of the comments that have made by the head coach, Freddie Kitchen, all week talking about Antonio Callaway, he's happy with where he is right now. I think he's obviously excited to have him back. But, guys, not only, I think, do we need him as far as in the return game and on special teams, but he's a threat. He could stretch the field.
Exactly.
And obviously that's another guy we need.
And Rashard Higgins returned to practice this week. So all of a sudden you got all of these playmakers on the offensive end of the field with a quarterback that likes to spread the football around.
And Baker, I tell you what, I can't wait to see him use all the weapons that he's going to have for him this week.
Yeah.
And then we talked a little bit about Landry, but I mean, not Landry, but OBJ. But I don't think Baltimore was doubling OBJ a lot. I think it was just a classic battle between two guys, a corner and a wide receiver going at each other. And a defensive back understands sometimes we're going to win that battle. Sometimes OBJ is going to win that battle. I mean, that's just the way it is.
He wasn't double much?
He was double some, and particularly in the red zone area you saw it, but there were a lot of instances in the back Hanford that you saw that Humphries just held his own. And you could make the argument he literally held his own
Yeah.
in that he was doing some holding, but that's a smart technique. Why not use it?
Potentially some choking.
I'm not touching that one.
We're not touching that one. Leave it up to the DBs to take the DB side here. 49ers, the San Francisco 49ers team, 3-0. Another 3-0 team or another unbeaten team that this Browns team has to play here in the first half of the season. But 3-0, who have they played? Have they played anybody, Gerard?
I'm not impressed with their 3-0, though it's an accomplishment. I shouldn't say that. But when you watch the game, this one in particular against the Steelers, they turned the football over either 5 to 6 times. I don't know the exact number. 5 of those, I believe, in the first half. And the Steelers could only amass 6 points off of that. Yeah. Please employ that strategy today and see what happens to you. So I'm not that impressed with the 3-0 because when you watch them on film, defense makes a lot of mistakes and offense, obviously, given the football that many times, are prone to be beat. And that was just 2 weeks ago.
Well, I agree with you, and I was just trying to figure out, like you said, how did the Steelers lose this football game? But then you also still have to look at the 49ers. They're a good football team. They're a football team that's going to give you a lot of motions on offense, and they're going to really try to trick you to set up what they do, and that's the play-action pass. So you really have to be keyed in to your keys in this ball game.
Kyle Shanahan, he is one of the up-and-coming minds in the NFL, especially on the offensive side of the ball. But let's keep in mind also, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's not anywhere near a rookie. The guy's been in the league for 5 years. He's played less than 16 games as a starting quarterback in the NFL. So in that scheme, he's still a fairly young quarterback and somebody that maybe the Browns can get to.
For sure, and the key part is getting to them. If you can get to him with four-man pressure, which you saw the Pittsburgh Steelers do, and I would like to think that our defensive line is stronger than the Steelers, then yes, you can get him off his spot and you can do some things to curtail him and prevent him from having a good game. But at the end of the day, when you watch this offense, you're so right, Hanford. It's about misdirection. Yeah. It's about setting up the play-action pass and things of that nature. But those are things and easy keys we can work on and get the job done. So I'm very confident in our ability today to beat this football team on the offensive end.
Well, and then to piggyback off of what you said, one thing about Jimmy, he's playing really well coming back off of that ACL surgery. I mean, he's a guy, he's a really smart quarterback. I mean, what you're not going to do, you're not going to see him make a lot of mistakes. He knows when to try to force the football, and he'll take whatever the defense is going to give him. He doesn't have a problem dumping it all.
One thing I did not like watching in the All-22 version, though, is that he's casual with his fakes, Hanford, in that you want to really sell an idea, put it in there, pull it out, and he wasn't doing that with the football. It was just a sense of, I'm going through my motion, I'm doing this, and that's a key for the defender to see that. So if anything, if I was going to criticize his game, he needs to work better on that. And he was around one of the best in the business at Tom Brady. He should have learned that skill set.
All right, coming up after the break, we go more in detail on this monster Monday night showdown in the Bay Area. That is next on the Browns Countdown.
Shotgun snap. He's got it. Baker back. Plenty of time. He drifts left, and he's got Ricky Seals-Jones wide open at the 5 and into the end zone. Touchdown!
Well, nice job by Baker Mayfield. He looked at Hilliard on the right side, drew all the attention over there, and Ricky Seals-Jones snuck out on the other side underneath.
Welcome back inside the Browns Countdown. Jon Doss, Hanford, Dixon, Gerard Cherry. Guys, that Browns offense finally looked like what we expected it could and should look like last week in Baltimore.
Well, it really did. And guys, we just saw it, Ricky Seals-Jones. You're talking about a guy that surprises me. Where did he come from? He had a big game, Gerard.
And what you appreciate about his effort is that he got his opportunity, he maximized it. Hey, if guys are going to be out and Njoku's out for a while with injury, take advantage of it. But what you love about this shots here is that you see Baker Mayfield distributing the football across the field and not focusing on just getting the ball to Odell Beckham Jr. So with his ability to spread it out, I think that played a part in opening this offense up.
Well, you know, and we have some guys that can really make some big plays. I mean, obviously we had Seals-Jones who had a big play. I think it was 59 yards down the field, and also Landry had a big run. And we're not talking about the Chubb's run down the field. So we had some big plays in that ball game.
Right, and you had a nice combination of run and pass. And in the red zone, what did you see? You saw more runs taking place. We had been asking for that because we weren't having success in passing the football in the red zone. So giving the ball to Nick Chubb definitely opened things up.
And you know what? I think all three of us agree on this set. When you're able to run the football, it opens up things, a lot of things in that offense.
Gerard's key to the game last week was big plays.
Oh,
yes,
and we got.
And you make fun of me for it too.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Actually, we made fun of both of you guys, and both of you guys redeemed themselves. Ricky Seals-Jones, by the way, spent time in Arizona with the Cardinals when Freddie Kitchens was there, so that was an easy move, and credit Freddie Kitchens for bringing him in. But offensively and defensively, the Browns got it done. down against a team that really had had a lot of success on the offensive end of the field.
But what can you say about our defense? I mean, they have just been playing lights out pretty much this whole year. And you know what? Even the secondary, we have to give a lot of credit to those guys. I think what they did was they made an effort that they were not going to let those guys get behind them. You could catch anything, John, in the front of us. We're going to come up, we're going to make the sure tackle, but we're not going to let you get behind us.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is, it seems as if the defensive strategy was let Lamar Jackson beat us with his arm, in the sense that you're not going to let him beat you, but let him pass more so than run the football. And they did a great job with that. And you really ask me, I think they did a good job on stopping the run, though they got over 100 yards. But at the end of the day, I think it's also who the Ravens played early on in the season. You beat the Dolphins, whoop-de-hoo. You know what I'm saying?
Well, the Dolphins, you beat the Cardinals, and you were down by a bunch to Kansas City before you made a late comeback.
Yeah, I'm sitting up here laughing because last night I got a phone call from Ozzie. And so
he finally called you back.
He finally surfaced last night, and he said, well, dog, now I'm ready to talk about it. I finally got it out of my system. And then that's where he came up. We was talking about the defensive back, our defensive back, not giving them and not letting them do anything deep.
Which is impressive considering the amount of injuries that this secondary has had. Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams, both battling with hamstring injuries. But you know what? The secondary guys, they've stepped in and they've filled in nicely.
You cannot say enough about T.J. Carey and Money Mitch.
Right.
And not only that.
That was Terod's player to watch last week, was T.J. Carey. Terod was money last week.
Yeah, well.
Congratulations.
See it when you see it, right?
Well, you know what? Actually, and his player to watch was who?
I don't recall.
Nick Chubb.
Yeah, it was Nick
Come on, dog. Come on, dog. Here's my back. Here's my back. Come on, dog. There we go.
Give him a pat on the back. I thought maybe you wanted to
give you one more.
Okay.
I thought maybe you wanted to piggyback. How about this 49ers offense? We mentioned Jimmy Garoppolo just a little bit, but this 49ers offense, top 10 in the NFL so far through 3 weeks.
And again, I'm going back to who they play, because that's what it seems to be the case with me. Because when you have 5 turnovers in the first half of a football game, I have to question your offense.
How do you win that game?
Well, you have a poor Pittsburgh Steelers team with Mason Rudolph who can't move the football as well. But they got guys out there who can certainly make plays. I mean, you watch what they do, and you love the misdirection. You love the play calling that Kyle Shanahan brings to the table. And they have quality players. But at the end of the day, I think, too, that you can put a lot of pressure on this offensive line. And if you win like any football game at the point of attack, you're going to have success. Because one thing I can say about the Steelers is that they seem to be in the backfield a lot in the last game the 49ers played.
Well, you know what's funny? When you talk about the 49ers, obviously we know their offense is ranked pretty high. But, guys, any top-name guys out there? I mean, obviously you have the quarterback, Jimmy. I mean, you have Kittle. I mean, any other names that you could just throw out there, like top guys, but they seem to be getting it done?
Well, by committee, and that's really what you want, which goes with that argument of, is it better to have a good coach or a bunch of talent? And for them, they obviously have a good coacher, but they don't have marquee names. But you don't need marquee names, it seems, in the Kyle Shanahan offense, especially at the running back position. You just need guys to get the job done.
They're winning. That's the most important.
Well, it is, but the Niners are one of these teams at 3-0 that we're really going to get a sense for this week, right? We got the same thing with Baltimore. Baltimore was 2-1. They barely lost to Kansas City if you look at the final score, but we learned a little bit more about Baltimore last week against these Browns. Now we're going to learn a lot about this San Francisco defense. Who have they played? Tampa Bay, although Tampa Bay's offense not bad.
Right.
And Pittsburgh Steelers offense with no Ben Roethlisberger. We're going to learn something about this Niners defense on Monday night.
Yeah, and what you see again with them is that they're susceptible to getting guys behind them, because you saw that in the Pittsburgh Steelers game. And if Mason Rudolph could have been more accurate with his passes, it's a different outcome in this football game. And you like the fact, though, up front, they have a lot of first-rounders who they drafted over time. And you got Joey Bosa's younger brother doing what he does, Nick Bosa, and you have to be impressed with what he can bring to the table.
Kids, man.
And then you got Richard Sherman out there. He's a vet of vets, and he still has ability, but he can be beat as well.
Well, that's why I'm sitting up here laughing, because I was talking about the 49ers, and I was talking about, really not having any popular players or name players. And I said, I'm glad Richard Sherman didn't hear that, because he would have been all over me. But you're right, Gerardo. On their defensive line, I think they have like at least 5 number-1 draft picks that they've had. So it's going to be interesting.
What happens when you're bad for a few years in a row? And they loaded up on that defensive line. And so far, defensively, they look good. But again,
who have they played?
Who have they played? And we will get a better sense for who this San Francisco team is on Monday night. Coming up in the show, we'll bring in the 4th member of our team, Nathan Zagura, who's sitting down with Browns head coach Freddie Kitchens. That's next on the Browns Countdown.
Shotgun snap, Baker back, looks left, steps up, fires down the middle. Landry caught it. He's over the 20, 25. He's at the 30. He's got a blocker, 35. He's got the middle of the field. He's to the 50. He's stumbling to the 40. He's to the 35, 30. And he's finally down inside the 30-yard line. Jarvis Landry. I wanted to run out of the booth and hold him up.
Here with Browns head coach Freddie Kitchens. And Coach, congratulations on your first division win. That was a big one going into Baltimore. What did your team do to get that good result?
Well, they prepared like they wanted to play good, and they went out and played good. You know, we were able to run the ball. We were able to limit them in rushes that mattered, and ultimately created enough turnovers to win the game.
When you look at a guy like Nick Chubb, though, I know he's one of your favorites for his work ethic. When you see him have a game like that and pop off that run to really kind of set the tone and say, okay, you're not coming back, Baltimore. What do you think about that performance?
Well, Nick's a consummate pro, you know, in everything he does. He's been like that since he's been here. He works hard on and off the field, and it's a great pleasure to see guys like that have success.
When you get that run game going, what does that do for your offense and for your quarterback, Baker Mayfield?
Well, that's what everything's built off of, is being able to establish the run and run the ball. When I've always said that it's critical to be able to run the ball when they know you're going to run the ball, and I thought we were able to do that.
Now, you know, to get where you want and to achieve the goals for your organization, for your football team, you got to stack wins together. You can't just go win, loss through the season. You'll end up at 8-8. You want to be better than that, so does this team. How important is it to go into San Francisco now and have that opportunity to stack a couple of wins, put them together, and to do it on Monday night against a very good football team? Well,
it's truly another test for our team, and see how they handle it. You know, there's a lot of situations that are new for this group, and this is one of them. You know, travel across the country to the West Coast and play on Monday night with everybody watching. You know, that's another step that we can do in the progress of grooming some of these younger guys to become older guys. And, you know, of course, it'd be great to come away with a win because, like you said, we need to start stacking wins together and get as far away from 500 as you can.
One of the ways you guys did kind of handle that Ravens offense was you were very successful on first down, which got them into a lot of third and longs. This Niner team is as good as any team in the NFL on first down, lead the league in explosive plays on first down. They're averaging 17 yards a reception on first down. How do you slow them down, knowing that Kyle Shanahan's offense is predicated on confusing you on first down so he can hit those shot plays?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the key to beating San Francisco is to keep them in down in distances that's beneficial for your defense, and you know, get them behind the sticks. But that doesn't change from week to week. San Francisco's just been a remarkable job of being good on first and second down.
When you have a tight end like George Kittle, how does that affect what you're able to do defensively?
Well, it definitely affects you from the standpoint of if you got one more guy you have to cover and make sure you cover. You know, a lot of defenses don't like to cover guys you don't throw them to, and they definitely throw it to him. So we've got to make sure we've got eyes on everybody.
All right, Coach, what's the key to get this Monday night win? You guys already 1-0 on the road on Monday night, 2-0 on the road on the season, to get to 3-0 on the road.
Well, it doesn't really change from week to week. You've got to be able to run the ball when they know you're running the ball. You've got to be able to stop the run, and we've got to get some turnovers, and we can't turn the ball over. So you got to be plus and take away, give away. That's the old cliche, but that rings true. I don't care what level of football you're playing at.
Right, taking the ball away 3 times in each of the last 2 games. We'd love to see that on Monday night. Coach, thanks so much for the time, and good luck.
All right, thank you, Nathan.
Well, too bad for the home fans at First Energy Stadium. The Browns 0-2 at home, but 2-0 on the road so far, with wins now in New York and Baltimore. Maybe they get a third one on Monday night.
Well, you know what's good, though, is, you know, obviously we're top the AFC North, and that's a big thing because obviously the Ravens are right there as far as record-wise right there with us, but obviously we get the tiebreaker because we beat them. But this offense, man, I tell you what, they just keep rolling and rolling and rolling. When you look at our, you know, our football game against the Ravens, guys, we only had, I think, 40 yards rushing in the first half. And then we came back on the second half, and we just had not only an explosion on running the football, but also passing the football. And again, you see Nick Chubb here showing his ability to come out of the backfield and also make some plays.
And obviously you want to win, either be at home or abroad, but the whole key is to win. But I like what we bring to the table against this 49ers team because, again, guys, I'm just sold on the idea. It's like the Ravens last week. Who have you played? Now, the 49ers had a week off to prepare for this football game, so you'd think that they'd have all their keys and adjustments ready to go because of the extra time. But when you play the way in which they played against the Pittsburgh Steelers in their last outing, it looked horrible. I'm just going to be frank with you. And I'm saying to myself, if we don't beat this football team, and maybe I'm jumping the gun, I will be very disappointed because I think it's a situation, again, where it's a question of who the team that they played against amounts to rather, while they're 3-0.
Well, I agree, and I think it's also now we can look at Freddie Kitchens and believe that he's going to have this football team ready to go, regardless of who we're playing, and also look at Wilks, our defensive coordinator, and I tell you what, whatever they're doing, let's keep it going right now, because this football team has been ready to play, especially last week.
And I think that's where that Tennessee Titans game actually comes back to help us. In the sense that when you watch the last game for the 49ers on film, you don't walk away from that experience impressed. Again, they won the football game, but when you watch, you're saying, oh my gosh, they can be across the board on offense and defense. But I do believe we will not rest on our laurels based on what took place week 1 when we lost that game at home in the opener.
It is impressive, the way the Browns lost against the Rams, and as much of a debacle as that last drive ended up being, and as much talk as there was out in the national media and even locally here, for them to be prepared on the road in a tough place to play against a good football team in Baltimore last week, that was impressive.
And you have to give our coach a lot of credit for that, because he's after those guys. He's making sure they're ready to go. And he has them understanding that you have to be ready each and every week. It doesn't matter what you did last week. It all counts what you do each and every week.
Certainly, and it seems also that Freddie brought more balance back to his way of calling the football game, in that I felt there was more running plays in critical conditions as opposed to passing the football in every situation, which seemed to be the case for the first 3 weeks of the season.
You think Freddie was listening to me? Or you think I have a hotline?
Of course
to him?
he was.
Regardless of what it is you said, yes, he was listening.
Like, the big dog said that? Okay, I'm going to employ that into my offensive strategy.
And, the tempo felt much better in Baltimore as well. Coming up after the break, we'll go more in depth on this 49ers team, plus our Sugardale Hot Minute. That is next on the Browns Countdown.
Mayfield gets motion from one of the tight ends, takes the snap, gives, Chubb runs to the left, bangs it to the outside, he dives for the goal line, touchdown! Nick Chubb, his second of the day!
He dipped like he was going to go off left guard. He bounced it to the outside and got the touchdown.
For guys that were, high picks and guys that have done stuff in this league, they're always playing hard. And I enjoyed my time with Kyle. When he was, I was a rookie playing with him. He's going to have a good plan for us. But I also think our defensive coaches have played him. The last couple of years. He was in Arizona and he's seen their defense, and it's going to be a good challenge.
They can do a lot of different things. Veteran quarterback can make all the throws. And then I feel like this offensive coordinator, he's one of the best up in the league, and kind of looking forward to going against him.
It's huge to stack wins in a row, especially 2 road wins in a row. I think for us to carry that into a short week coming back at home would be huge. So we're just taking it 1 week at a time, though. Building on the momentum, like I said, we set the standard, and we need to continue to improve.
All right, welcome back into the Countdown. Jon Doss, Hanford, Dixon, Sherrod Cherry. You heard something in there.
Yes.
A lot of familiarity between this Browns coaching staff and this 49ers coaching staff, especially defensive coordinator Steve Wilks, who was the head coach with the Cardinals.
Yeah, and that's so key when you have familiarity, especially with a guy like Kyle Shanahan, who's one of the best in the business. And I would make the argument that his father was one of the best, if not the best in business at being a coordinator, so the apple didn't fall far from the tree. But yeah, Wilks having been in that conference for the past 2 years, that has a huge, tremendous effect on the preparation in that you know what they're going to do, you know the keys, you've read it, so it's not like you're behind schedule because you know about this football team.
Guys, it's going to be fun. Just sitting down watching tomorrow night against the chess match going on between Shanahan and also our defensive coordinator, Wilks, because, I just can't wait to take a look at it because obviously, Wilks understands and knows these guys, and he knows what they're going to try to do. And he's already told his guys about all the motion and everything that's going to take place, and you have to stay keyed to your keys.
The chess match between Shanahan and Wilks, also the chess match between Shanahan and Freddie Kitchens, 2 of the up-and-coming offensive minds in this NFL. All right, still to come, we're going to bring back Nathan Zagura. We're going to go more in depth on Baker Mayfield and his performance in Baltimore, and what a view that is of the Bay Bridge in San Francisco, connecting Oakland and San Francisco. More on the Browns Countdown coming up.
Now it's 1st and 15, and they're back at their 12. Mayfield with Chubb behind him. Mayfield under center on 1st down. Toss sweep near side. Here comes Chubb with a cutback. He's out to the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Here he goes to the 50. Here goes Chubb. He's going to go.
All right, welcome back into the countdown. Time now to go back to the fourth member of our team, Nathan Zagura, who takes a look at the Browns' offense.
Once again, it is a tough test for this Browns offense as the 49ers come in with the third-ranked defense in the NFL. They've been stout against the run, giving up just over 3 yards per carry. They've been good against opposing quarterbacks, 5 interceptions in just 3 games. 57% completions allowed. But frankly, they have not faced the best competition. I think for the Browns, it's come out and do what you did against the Ravens. Establish Nick Chubb. Use some of those 2 tight end formations to get the ground game going and then utilize play action to get the ball down the field. I think you look at this 49ers team, they're awesome up front. 5 first-round picks in their 8-man defensive line rotation. They can get to the quarterback with the best of them. They're averaging 3 sacks per game so far. They've got Eric Armstead. They've got D. Ford. They've got Nick Bosa, Solomon Thomas, and DeForest Buckner in the middle. So this is a great defensive line. They've got a good middle linebacker in Quan Alexander, but their secondary to me is a little bit suspect. Outside of Richard Sherman, I think the Browns can attack this unit of the 49ers. The key is going to be the offensive line up front, giving Baker Mayfield time, and Baker doing what he did last week, maneuvering in the pocket and delivering the football. They've got to take care of it. They've got to protect Baker, but if they do that, I think big plays will be there against this 49ers secondary that can be susceptible to guys getting vertical. Back to you guys.
All right, Hanford, Dixon, and Gerard Cherry, Baker Mayfield. He hasn't had that explosion of a game yet, certainly not by touchdown passes as a variable, right? But he was pretty good in that game against Baltimore.
Well, I think he was excellent because I think one thing he did, he showed his offensive linemen that he had a lot of confidence in them, because if you watch him throughout this ball game, he did not rush anything. He stayed in the pocket, went through his reads, went through his progression, and I thought that was very, very important, Gerard.
Yeah, excellent point, Hanford, in that he didn't show that he was under a lot of duress, even though there were times when he could have vacated the pocket. Yeah. What did he do? He stayed in there and stepped up, and by doing that, he had success. So that's all about trust with that offensive line, and that's certainly what you saw in last week's game against the Ravens.
Well, as he stayed in there, I thought he was rewarded too, because meaning that he was rewarded with his wide receivers with a couple big plays down the field.
And let's be fair, he could have had a second touchdown pass if Jarvis Landry hadn't had what he called, in his own words, the least athletic play of his career when he couldn't stay on his feet. So Baker could have had a second touchdown. But guys, you mentioned it earlier, Hanford. Baker's the type of guy that likes to spread the wealth, and we had wondered the first few weeks of the season, are they trying to force Odell Beckham Jr. the football, and is that changing the offense? That didn't happen in Baltimore. They spread it around and they looked really good.
Yeah, also, too, though, you do want to get Odell Beckham Jr. involved more in the offense.
Sure.
Now, give Humphries credit for doing a good job on him and frustrating him and keep him somewhat out the football game. But at the end of the day, you want to employ Odell Beckham Jr. and you also want to use him as a decoy, in which they did a fantastic job of doing just that, because Ricky Seals-Jones, he can definitely tell you he benefited from it, or Seals-Jones can tell you he benefited from Odell Beckham Jr. being on the football field.
Guys, I think we all will agree with this, too. We give OBJ a lot of credit, meaning that he understands that he didn't catch a lot of football, but the most important thing to him was this football team won. We won the football game, and then the ball went to a lot of the other players, and as a result, I agree, Humphrey did a great job, but still there were some times where he was double coverage, and that opened up things for other players, and he doesn't have a problem with that so far, so I have to give him a lot of credit.
Well, we know Beckham went off in New Jersey against the Jets.
Right.
It was Landry that went off in Baltimore against the Ravens. This is a team that spreads the wealth, and it may be a team where one guy explodes every week, and the other guys are just going to have to sit back and be team players, and so far, that's exactly what they've done. All right, coming up after the break, we'll talk more about this running back guy, Nick Chubb. He's mic'd up in that win against Baltimore. That's next on the Browns Countdown. All right, it's the Browns Countdown here on News Channel 5. Jon Doss, Hanford, Dixon, Gerard Cherry. We got to give Hanford the credit again. He said Nick Chubb was going to go off against Baltimore, and guess what? Nick Chubb went off against Baltimore, the AFC Offensive Player of the Week.
Guys, you're talking
Congratulations, Hanford.
You guys are welcome, because you're talking about a defense that was ranked number 3, and they were averaging, only giving up 60 yards a game running the football. And what did Nick Chubb do? came off here. Look at it. Guys, made 4 guys miss just on that play alone. And here was the dagger right in their back, Gerard, coming down. And I think you were the only guy that could have caught him. I couldn't catch him on that one, Gerard.
Yeah, you love what you see right there. Whenever you see a running back running away from DBs, that's all you need to know in regards to speed. And yes, you had to be impressed with that effort. But what I love so much about last week's game is that Freddie Kitchens made a concerted effort to say, you know what, Nick, we're going to get you involved in the red zone. We have paid no attention to you. In my mind, guys, he is one of the most underrated, probably best football players in the National Football League that you don't hear much about.
Guys, it's amazing to me that defensive backs or linebackers or even defensive linemen think that they can come up to this guy and they can just bump him and not wrap him up.
Good luck with that.
I mean, it's just not going to happen with this guy. He's fast, he's big, he's strong. He can get it done. What are you smiling about? You getting ready to say something. I know it. I can see it.
I'm just trying to think of, do you remember your fastest 40 time?
Yes.
Yes.
4.39.
Wow. He might have been able to catch him.
Yeah.
That was 4.35 or 7.
Really?
Yeah.
My man.
All right, so next week on the Browns Countdown, these two are going to race. Nick Chubb was also mic'd up in that game against Baltimore. Check it out.
It is a big game. If the Browns can win here today, they can get right into first place in the division. Plain and simple, Doug, the Browns got to score some points, and they're going to need them here today.
I go into the same way every week. You know, I know the opponents I have and what they're capable of, and the Ravens defense is a great defense. We all knew that, but for me, it's the same thing. Just bust my tail at practice every day. Our mindset was going to win. It's going to be tough. We're playing at their stadium against a great team, and their fans will be into it. But just stay together and play hard, which we did, and we ended up getting the win.
I'm telling you. Here we go. 178 yards.
Yeah, I love Odell, man. He supports me and everyone else on the team. And actually, before every game, he always comes up to me and just says a number and says, it's going to be my day. I'm going to break one. You know, every game, that's what he says. He motivates me and inspires me to actually break one.
Don't worry about nothing. It's a different time for us now. It's time to go, though. We ain't got no more time to waste. Let's get it. Dog team! Dog team! Let's go, man. This count for 2, man. Play your ass off, man. Let's go. Grind on 3. 1, 2, 3. Grind.
It's all about winning. And, you know, it wasn't about, individual success, and more about team success. And team success, everybody wins. Everybody looks good. We all achieve more, and then it looks good on all of us as a whole.
Hey, good job, man. Good try, man.
I don't really define myself as all-purpose. I just, whatever the team needs me to do. If I need me to run the ball, I will. Catch the ball, I will. Whatever puts us in the best position to win, that's what I'm down for.
You run the f***ing ball. I know you hungry. I love you, boy. I love you. Hell yeah.
My first thought, my first instinct, I just go with it. I don't hesitate at all, and that seems to work out for me. So I just follow my instincts. So if you're looking back, somebody's definitely running by you. So I guess that's what it is. When they just laying on the ground, you can tell they're about to give up. Third quarter of the game, they're tired, and we're still going, and they're laying down watching us win.
Important drive. Do your job every play right here. Let's go! No! Hold on. Appreciate you. Yo, we're going. You scored? Yep.
Yeah, I love our line. I love all those guys up front. They do a great job every day in practice and in the game. I feel like of making opening up the holes for me, and it's we work together. So sometimes it may look like a bad block, but maybe it's my steps or my read, and things like that. But I think the first 4 games they've been great. Now, I've enjoyed running behind them, and they've made some holes for me, and I think they're doing a great job.
First down, toss sweep, near side. Here comes Chubb with a cutback. He's out to the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Here he goes to the 50. Here goes Chubb. He's going to go. 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown. Wow, 88 yards by Chubb.
Go! Shit, bro! I swear you the go, bro! That's how you
I've been in plenty of games where we've been up by a lot or by a little, and in the fourth quarter where teams come back and win. I mean, the game is not over until it's over.
satisfied? Not till it's over with. Who say you can't get fooled? You gotta win this.
I stay focused. I never ease on my opponent. I never think it's over until it's over. I mean, done sure. I mean, I scored 3 touchdowns. Like, it's all right now. Let my guy eat. It's time for him to get in and make something happen, which I knew if he got in, he would make a big play, which he did.
I said, I'm good. I'm good. Let me eat. Let him eat.
I think every game we got to come out and play, or it's going to be a tougher game if we don't make plays, and I think we did, and we won by a lot.
All right, the countdown continues. Levi Stadium, the site of tomorrow night's monster Monday Night Football matchup. More to come on the Browns Countdown.
And Ingram running, that ball's loose on the ground, and the Browns get in there. Chad Thomas got in there, it looks like he got it. But Jermaine Whitehead got in there and caused it.
And that will not be the only turnover we see Jermaine Whitehead force in that ball game against Baltimore later in the show.
Question for you guys.
Yeah.
Barnett, who are you guys going to, Whitehead or Barnett?
The way Whitehead played last week in Baltimore.
It's going to be tough, isn't it?
He bounced back, too, because that game against the Rams, that's the sign of a good professional. When you have a rough game the following week, you come back and have a great contributions in the game. So I was impressed. I'm going to go Whitehead to answer your question.
I agree with you guys, because I think in the Baltimore game, he had the big interception.
Yeah.
He also, the interception, Lawrence, wasn't he in there and he tipped the ball a little bit on the quarterback or something? I think he caused that interception. And also, remember the big fumble? He caused.
We just saw it. I mean, he had a great all-around game, and when you force in 2 turnovers,
and if Wilkes loved him, I mean, because he said he's a really smart guy. He makes sure everybody in the defensive backfield is lined up. But that was a question I wanted to throw.
And if he's got a nose for the ball, he could have a lot of success this week against the 49ers offense that has turned the football over a lot.
Exactly. And I keep going back to that game against the Steelers, and I'm saying to myself, Pittsburgh, how in the world do you lose this football game? They gave it to you 5 times in the first half.
Rudolph.
Yes, that's how you lose it. But you should never have only 6 points after 5 turnovers in the first half. So if they play that type of game today, I expect us to beat them 80-0.
But Rudolph missed some throws, too, in that game.
80-0
Yeah, a bit hyperbole there, but you get my point.
But, guys, their offense is playing pretty good, too. I mean, you look at their offense, they're only giving up 2 sacks all
Now that
year.
is impressive and an underrated stat that they've only given up 2 sacks in 3 games.
But you know where we can attack them is at the left tackle position, because the kid over there has only had 2 starts. So maybe we can move some guys around and attack them that way.
And see, that's a deceptive statistic, because if you watch the games, Garoppolo's under pressure. They're getting in his face and putting him off his spot and making him uncomfortable. And that's really also part of the game as well. And if you go back to that Steelers game I keep referring to, you see the sacks taking place. So they're definitely susceptible at the point of attack. And with our rush guys, I expect them to have big games today.
Well, you remember also we said
Monday.
Also we said that
I wish it was today too.
Yeah, he gets the ball out really quick. I mean, he's not going to hold on to it. He's going to, and obviously that's a reason why the only 2 sacks.
And both this running back core and wide receiver core for the 49ers, they kind of do it by committee.
Right. You're not going to hear household names in this group of guys who play for them. But what they do is they get the job done. But again, how much can we put on that when you consider who they have played?
Yeah, they do run by committee, but guys, this running attack, they average 175 yards a game.
That's pretty good.
Running the football, obviously the 2 running backs, about 60-something yards apiece.
I think
this 49ers offensive line, is it maybe better than we've given it credit for? I know you were saying that you watched the game and Garoppolo was under pressure a decent amount, but 175 yards a game, only giving up 2 sacks. Are we overlooking this 49ers offensive line? Gerard does not seem impressed.
It sounds very similar to what we were talking about last week to me, in that we were saying this, we're heralding the Baltimore Ravens for this, we're heralding them for that, and then look at who they played. And I think that plays a key part in this, especially early on in the season. Now, obviously, they can come out, show up, and show out, and not to swallow the words that I'm saying as we speak. But I do, after watching them, I walked away from the experience saying to myself, this football team is okay. They're not what you would think of an undefeated football team, in that they're juggernauts or world beaters.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think we still have to give them a little credit there because, like you said, only the 2 sacks, and they are moving the football, letting the running backs run the football. So I think our defensive line is better, but I still think they're decent on offense.
Well, we're going to learn a lot about this San Francisco 49ers offense. We're going to learn a lot more about this Cleveland Browns defense after Week 5 on Monday night. More on this Browns defensive scheme coming up next on the Browns Countdown.
Shotgun, back to pass. Jackson up in the pocket, a lot of time. He's going to go long and deep for Andrews down the field, and the Browns are down there, pick it off. Whitehead and Mitchell are down there, and Whitehead got it.
He went over the top of Andrews.
Went up over the top and made the catch.
Welcome back into the Browns Countdown. Time now to go back to Nathan Segura for more on this Browns defense.
Whenever you face a Kyle Shanahan-led offense, you know you have your work cut out for you. You have to maintain your discipline because Kyle coaches everything to be exactly the same. The run looks and the play action passes off of those run looks are identical, and that's why he's able to hit you with big play action passes. Jimmy Garoppolo has been exceptional with that thus far. The Niners enter this game the number 4 overall offense, over 420 yards per game. The number 3 scoring offense, over 30 points per game. And why? It's because they know how to run it and then use play action for big plays. This is the number 2 rushing offense in the league, 175 yards per game. Mostert, he's averaging over 5 yards a carry. Breida, he's averaging over 5 yards per carry. These guys are both averaging over 60 yards per game each. So the 49ers, they can run it, and what that allows them to do is hit these big plays. They are number 1 in the NFL, over 10 chunk plays per game, and more than half of them are coming on first downs. In fact, they're averaging 17 yards per catch on first downs. So if you're the Browns, what you've got to do is stop them early, like you did with the Ravens, and try to get them in 2nd and long, 3rd and long. Make their intentions clear, because if this team has to become a passing team, yes, they've got a great tight end in George Kittle, but I think the Browns can get to the quarterback and disrupt Jimmy Garoppolo. Their Pro Bowl left tackle, Joe Staley, he is out. I think we can feast on this offensive line, disrupt Garoppolo, and when you do that, he turns the ball over. Just ask the Steelers. They couldn't capitalize on those takeaways, but I believe the Browns can. The key to this game will be on first down and stopping the 49ers from hitting those chunk plays.
All right, turnovers will be a big deal again on Monday night. Anytime the Browns get an interception, you can pick up a free small curly fry the next day at your nearest Arby's restaurant. All you have to do is mention the interception. Only at participating Cleveland locations. Limit 1 per guest. Arby's, we have the meats. And the Browns have been delivering on the free curly fries the last few weeks, guys.
Yes, they have, and I need to take full advantage of that as well. As you see right here, this is when you deliver. When Whitehead makes a play like that, going over the top of the receiver, pulling the ball in as if he played receiver. So I have to take back that term. These DBs can't catch, because right there he showed high skills.
He really did, and he took, we always say take the ball at the highest point, and that's what he did. But you know what? I went to try to get my curly fry, but they had ran out of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, because the Browns are getting so many turnovers now.
So many turnovers.
Guys, this is really a big story. The first couple of weeks, right, the Browns didn't have any turnovers against Tennessee in that Titans game. And they hadn't really had a turnover since week 1 of the NFL preseason. Now, all of a sudden, they're starting to get those turnovers, and that really changes things.
Oh, certainly. And when you look at this 49ers football team, they don't mind giving the football over, as I said before. And I'll be a repeat record on this. They gave the football over to the Pittsburgh Steelers 5 times in the first half. Please do that Monday. I'm looking forward to see what the outcome of the game will be. So they have to be more careful with the football, and we're an opportunistic football team, at least on the defensive end, so let's see what we can create.
Yeah, that's one thing we have to do. We have to create more turnovers and have more turnovers than they do. We can't give the ball to them, and I always have to say this, too. I was only kidding. Can you imagine Arby's
You got your
out
fries?
Of curly fries? I got my fries. And they were good. They were hot.
Well, hopefully, and it's on the same day, so hopefully you can get your free curly fries tomorrow. Coming up on the show, Hanford's favorite part of the show when we talk about the other teams. We're going around the AFC North here in the Browns Countdown. And before we go, your trivia question presented by Giant Eagle. We'll see if these guys can get it. What is the all-time – there's no way you guys get this. What is the all-time record between the Browns and 49ers? Here are your 4 options. Answer. All right, our Giant Eagle trivia question answer. What is the all-time record between the Browns and 49ers? Guys?
I'm going with C.
Gerard says C. Hanford says D. And it's D.
Yeah,
oh!
yeah.
The Cleveland Browns lead the all-time series 12-7. First one in 1950. The year they won the first ever NFL championship. Hanford was on that team.
That wasn't right.
Welcome back into the Browns Countdown. Jon Doss, Hanford, Dixon, Gerard Cherry.
That's wrong.
No, we stick it to.
Did they win a championship?
They did win a championship.
Well, I kind of,
Where's your ring, dog?
You could mention that championship when you say my name at
when
the
I
beginning
introduced
of
you.
the show. Right.
Hanford got the answer right, by the way.
Yes, he did.
Historian Hanford Dixon. All right, time now to go around the AFC North. Big one elsewhere in this division. The Ravens on the road in Pittsburgh.
Yes, it's a huge game, and the reason why we say that, obviously, because it's a divisional game, and both teams experienced losses last time they played on the football field. So with that in mind, they don't want to be 0-2 in the division because that really is going to limit their chances to take control of the division.
Boy, you are exactly right. I mean, big game for both teams. This game is going to be played in Pittsburgh. Baltimore coming off a huge loss to the Browns last week. And Pittsburgh, I mean, they're coming off a win, but I just cannot see the Ravens losing this ball game. I don't care where you play it. I just think they're a much better football team, and I think they will win.
This is such a big game for both these teams because if you're Pittsburgh and you win this game, all of a sudden, okay, you're 2-3, but you got 2 wins in the division because you beat Cincinnati and then you beat Baltimore. You're not out of this thing by any means. And if you're Baltimore and you lose this game, well, all of a sudden, you're the team that we've seen the last 2 weeks, not the team that we saw the first 2 weeks.
Exactly. And last week against the Bengals, you got to give credit to that defense for the Pittsburgh Steelers because they came alive, and they're really the reason why they won that football game. You can't say because of exploits of Mason Rudolph, though he did contribute. But if the Steelers' idea of 2-0 in the division, you'll take that.
And guys, this is going to be a really physical ball game. I mean, very physical game because, again, 2 teams in the AFC North, and there are going to be some big hits delivered in this game.
But at the end of the day, though, I don't see the Steelers beating this Ravens football team.
I don't see it either.
I don't see them winning either. I think it's maybe a little close game, but I don't think the Steelers are going to win. And I know all you Steeler fans out there are a little bit disappointed, but I can't see you winning.
Well, if you're a Steeler fan and you're watching this show, what are you doing today?
Because
you got a ball game.
Because they love us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, naturally. Who would just tune in to watch you? The other game that involves an AFC North team, I guess more on the line, less on the line? You got a couple of winless teams. The Cardinals on the road in Cincinnati.
No, there's a lot on the line because if you lose this football game against the Cincinnati Bengals, you're saying to yourself, who did we hire as a head coach? Well, we're better off leaving Marvin in the building. And you're truly saying to yourself, we are not that good. Because when you lose against another team that's OFA, then that is really going to hurt your feelings.
At least Arizona has a tie.
I love what you said. You might as well leave Marvin in the building. But, guys, I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to pick this one. I am going to, the Bengals. I picked the Bengals to win this one.
Well, you go with the home team, right?
Yeah,
and I asked you, Kyler Murray, the number 1 overall pick, the rookie for Arizona, I asked you how he's been. Gerard, you said kind of as advertised.
Right. He's making plays. They're not winning football games, but again, we can't forget it's not just one guy or just one side of the football field. It's a complete effort on all phases, and they're not getting that right now, and that's to be expected considering that they're in a complete rebuild mode. But I like what I've seen so far and that he's putting up numbers to show you that, hey, even with his stature and with his size, he can still perform in the National Football League.
Well, there's no question he can play in this league, and I think he's going through some growing pains right now. But I like to see him play, and I like to see him continue to play because, again, I've said it over and over again, and he's going to make some mistakes, but he's going to learn from those mistakes. And I'm telling you, he's doing nothing, but he's going to get better. He's going to get better. He's going to be okay.
Do the Bengals get their first win of the year today?
Yes, I would be confident in saying that, being in a home game, and they're just a better football team, though their record doesn't speak for it.
Yeah,
I think they do.
All right. Good day for the AFC North. Hopefully tomorrow night is as well. Coming up after the break, we talk about this Browns injury report. It's been a big storyline the last couple of weeks. Will it be a big storyline on Monday night? That's next on the Browns Countdown. All right, let's take a look at this Browns injury report for their Monday Night Football matchup in Santa Clara, taking on the 49ers, and obviously the big ones. Greedy Williams, Denzel Ward, both questionable with hamstring injuries. They hadn't practiced all week, so questionable probably means doubtful for those two guys. They will miss their third consecutive games. Rashard Higgins also listed as questionable, though Rashard did return to practice this week. He was limited on 2 occasions during practice this week, so that one truly is questionable. And Morgan Burnett also questionable, and you see the San Francisco questionables there. Joe Staley out. I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big deal for that San Francisco offensive line. But guys, no Greedy Williams, no Denzel Ward in all likelihood. But the understudies have performed well the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and that's a cool part about it, having depth. In that you have 2 guys where you don't miss a beat when you have first and second round pick who contribute on this football team not being out there, and you don't miss a beat. You have to love what Jon Dorsey's done from bringing in a talent standpoint. Because again, I haven't missed them. Have you, Hanford?
No, I have not missed these guys, and I'm telling you, Mitch and Kerry. I think the most important thing is what they've done is they put these guys in great position. Not putting them in a situation where a lot of man-to-man coverage, but a lot of zone man or zone where they can keep everything in front of them, and it's working. I mean, it's working. I mean, even Whitehead, who's come in and played extremely well.
And don't get me wrong, you obviously want Ward and Greedy Williams on the football field, but when I'm in a situation where I can sit here and tell you guys I have not missed them, I'm just telling you the absolute truth. That when you walk away from experience and you let a person see your backup, and your backups play admirably well, that's a great sign for your football team that you do have depth.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I have to watch what I say on this.
Oh, do you? Really?
Yeah.
Since when has that been the case?
Well, but let's just hope these guys can hurry up and get back.
This will be now the second week that Mack Wilson will be starting in place of Christian Kirksey, who, of course, has had his pectoral surgery. He's out for the year. You like what you saw from Mack Wilson so far?
I really do. I think Mack is playing extremely well. Again, he's just like a firecracker out there. I mean, he is right in the middle of that defense, and he's making plays. And again, we have to understand he is a rookie, but he's gonna continue to get better.
Right, he's got put into the fire early on. But one of the things I like is that he's making plays. He's not doing what typically rookies do in these situations, is make a lot of mistakes in the wrong areas and things of that nature. And he has Joe Schobert as well as a quarterback on the football field to help direct him. But I do like what I see, and I hate the fact that Christian is not able to be out there on the football field because it's a second year in a row in which he's missing time. But at the same time, we do have depth at that position as well.
You know, one thing I think it's really good, though, with Kirksey, my understanding, he's been around the team as much as he possibly can, and he's still been there to help these guys, or help Mack around all the time. So, you know, hopefully, we'll keep it going.
And Christian's been on the sideline. Hopefully he's not wearing an Apple
Watch.
Be careful with that.
Oh, that's a big fine.
We just saw that. Ben Roethlisberger fined $5,000 by the NFL for wearing an Apple Watch while on the sideline of the game. This is getting out of control.
It is, but again, they have to keep the protocol, right? It's the league.
Yeah.
And if you're going to find Odell Beckham Jr. or at least threaten him, you got to do it across board.
And the rules are the rues.
And it's not like you need a watch while on the sideline. I mean,
Hanford plays by the rules.
Well, OBJ needs one while he's on the field. And he's playing.
Once they send a memo to you,
wasn't an Apple Watch.
I mean, I got nerve to talk because Lord knows I've broken a rule or two in my day. But if they're going to tell me don't wear a watch out there, it's going to cost me 5 G's.
I'm not wearing a watch.
I'm not wearing a watch.
I'm not wearing a watch.
Yeah, I'll just be asking what time it is. All right, coming up on the show, we go our final thoughts and the keys to the game for both these guys. And they've been very good the last couple of weeks, and we'll take you out here. My recommendation, don't take the Golden Gate Bridge into the game. Take the Richmond Bridge, maybe the Bay. Welcome back into the Browns Countdown. Jon Doss, Hanford, Dixon, Gerard Cherry. Guys, last block, our final thoughts, our keys to the game, our winning mix. Let's start with Hanford.
You know, guys, looking at this ball game, and I'm going to go to the defensive backs against the wide receivers, and that would be OBJ and company against Richard Sherman and company. I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. I think maybe what the 49ers would do, they'll try to go to a little bit of what the Ravens did with, they'll try to put Sherman on OBJ. But guys, what they don't understand, we have our support. OBJ has a supporting cast back this week. We have a lot of wide receivers that can take the football and they can stretch the field. So it's going to be very important to see what happens against our wide receivers and defensive back. And you know what? If I were a betting man, if I were to bet on 49ers defensive backfield against our wide receiving core, I'm going to go with our wide receiving cores because I think with Baker at the helm, I think we can really beat up on these guys.
Well, that's what's difficult when you look at the Ravens game plan and you watch that tape and you say, well, on one end, we can take something away from this because they were able to shut down Odell Beckham Jr.
Humphrey,
on the other hand, you don't want to do exactly what the Ravens did because, they shut down OBJ, but they got burned by a lot of other people, especially Ricky Seals-Jones, Nick Chubb, and, of course, Jarvis Landry.
I think they'll only try to do that with Sherman because if you noticed what the Ravens did, they had Humphreys. He was pretty much the guy that was shadowing OBJ, and wherever OBJ went, whether he was in the slot, whether he was a wine, Humphrey was right there on him. So Sherman, I think, his ego will get involved. And
he's going to be playing zone, Hanford. You
think?
Well, he's going to be playing zone. He will be bail techniquing and everything else off man. Trust me.
All right, Gerard's winning mix. Gerard, there's not a lot of big-name players on this 49ers offense, but there's one, certainly, and it's a guy that the Browns have to be very aware of.
It's the tight end, George Kittles. He is a playmaker, and it seems to me that whenever they need a big play to extend a drive or in the red zone area, they are going to this man to make the play and get the job done, as you see right here. How he has just had the ability just to make things happen. He wears a C on his chest for a reason because he's a playmaker. But here's what the Browns have to do. Beat him up. Do not let him run freely down the football field. Now, they'll move him everywhere. They'll play him out with a wide receiver spot. They'll put him in the slot, and they'll move him up and down the football field, and they like to do a lot of delays with him as well just to get him involved in the passing game. But if you can slow him down, if you can beat him up and take him out of offense, that is a huge issue for Jimmy Garoppolo because he does truly serve as a security blanket for him in that form. So I think you have to take him out of the game because if you do that, that certainly limits this 49ers offense.
Well, as you see, too, he's a guy that's once he catches the football, he can get a lot of yardage. He's really good running the football. He runs pretty much like a wide receiver, so he runs really, really well.
This is a situation like we talk about with OBJ. Unlike the Browns, you shut down OBJ, there's a lot of other guys that can beat you. If you shut down Kittle, you got a chance to really shut down this 49ers offense. How about Nathan Zagura's keys to the game?
All right, guys, for the winning mix presented by Vitamix this week against the 49ers, I think the Browns just need to maintain their discipline defensively. That is going to be key. I talked about the big plays earlier that the 49ers can hit. Don't allow those chunk plays. They did that very effectively against the Rams, and they did it very effectively against the Ravens. We need to do it against the Niners. Kittle is dynamic, and then Marquise Goodwin, that wide receiver, with speed to burn, can get you vertically. Keep everybody in front. Force the Niners to move the ball down the field. Our defensive line ultimately will get the better of their offensive line, and I think we can generate some turnovers. Offensively, it's going to start up front. Our offensive line handling this excellent defensive line rotation of the 49ers. If we give Baker Mayfield time, he will pick apart the 49ers secondary, not to mention Mixon and Nick Chubb. Never hurts to have the reigning AFC Offensive Player of the Week heavily involved in your game plan. But I really think it's that simple. We can slow down that run, limit the big plays on defense, offensively, keep Baker upright, and let him do what he does best. Just deal and take what the defense gives him. We do that, and the Browns are going to be flying home through the night, 3-2.
All right, time now for the big dog's top dog. And if it worked so well last week, why not go right back to the well with Nick Chubb?
We have to ride that horse again this week, talking about Nick Chubb. Look at him right here hitting that hole, and I don't think no one is going to be able to catch him. We have to be able to run the football, and that all starts with Nick Chubb. And if we can run the football and keep feeding him, because the more carries he gets, the stronger he gets in a ball game. And if we continue to give him the football, I think we'll win this game again.
And the more the play action for Baker Mayfield works, which we saw a lot of that in Baltimore. Gerard Cherry, top dog. Larry Ogunjobi.
That's right. I'm looking forward to Larry Ogunjobi being very scary and getting into the face of Jimmy Garoppolo because I feel that he can do a lot up front, and he's so underrated as well. Yes, a lot of attention is going to go to Myles Garrett, but Larry is doing a lot of dirty work, and if he can play a part in having four-man pressure get to the quarterback Monday as opposed to relying on the blitz, then that is going to open a lot of things up for this defense and put that pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo. And I expect Larry to do that. So you see right here, making plays in the backfield and just being explosive and doing the things. Now, he's not a vocal guy, but he gets the job done. So Larry Ogunjobi, is my top dog.
You know, he's a load. Him and Richardson and Myles Garrett. I mean, you talking about.
This is another situation like we talked about with OBJ. If you make the decision, we're not going to let Myles Garrett get to our quarterback and beat us, then Olivier Vernon pops up. If you make the decision, we're not going to give it up on the edges, then you got Larry Ogunjobi, who's going to have some very favorable matchups there in the middle. Remember, Browns Countdown every week from 10:30 to noon, live on Sunday. Guys, good news. It's a 1 o'clock home kickoff next week against the Seattle Seahawks. We will be there at First Energy Stadium on the field, ready to roll. Hanford is excited. Guys, what do you think? Browns or Niners on Monday Night Football? You got 3 seconds.
Oh, 49ers going to get beat down. I told you 80-0.
Beat down, 80-0. A little bit of hyperbole.
I think 49ers are a good football team, but I think we win this football game on the road. I think it's a very important game for us, and I don't think we will disappoint.
I don't think so either. Give us one more.
You want another one?
For Hanford, Dixon, Rashard Cherry, I'm Jon Doss. Thanks so much for watching the Browns Countdown. Enjoy the ball game on Monday night tomorrow.